This has to be the ultimate Minecraft arena. This arena has so many features. To start off with, the floor. The floor can have a random design, it can have a flat design, or a very spiky and dynamic design. All just with the press of a button. Not only does this arena have a super cool floor, but it also has a bunch of Ravengers. These Ravengers can easily be placed in all 4 of the gates, and you can choose when to release them to fight the players. Now I'm going to show you how to use this arena, and there's a world download and schematic in the description, so if you guys want to build this or check it out yourselves, you can do so. Like I said earlier, the floor can be flat, it can also be spiky, but a detail I kind of glanced over is it can be random. By pressing this button, my redstone will randomly pick spikes and drop them down to the floor. The floor is very easy to use, but now the Ravengers. The Ravengers are a bit more complicated. To start off with, you have to go to this lectern, and you can choose what side of the arena you want to put a Ravenger in. Each of the sides are labeled with a banner, with north, east, south, and west, and you can easily choose which side you want to put the Ravenger in. You can also just put them in all of the sides. If you hit done and press this button, that just confirmed that we want all of the gates to be loaded. And to load the Ravengers, we just have to press this button to send them off. You can see one of them dropped, and he should get loaded in this gate right there. Now we just have to press this button 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. And we can easily watch as they get loaded in the 3 separate gates. There's one, and we'll shortly see the other 2. With all of the Ravengers in place, we can have the players drop down the middle, represented by this villager, and when we press this button, the Ravengers will be released and instantly kill the player. Now that the fight is over, we need to clean up these Ravengers and put them back in their tower to be right here to be stored. To do this, we just press the toggle villagers button, which in 2 of the corners will reveal a villager who the Ravengers will try to grab, and a minecart here will pick them up through the wall and send them off to their cage. Okay, so our system managed to pick up 3 out of the 4 Ravengers. However, this guy is being a little stubborn and isn't getting into the corner. To fix this, you can just close off the villager, wait for the Ravenger to get distracted and pathfind a little. Then we can press this button again, which should reveal the villager. And he is being stubborn again, but we'll just help him. There we go. And now that all the Ravengers are out of the arena, we can close off the villagers and close up the gates. So all the cages are up. And if we head over to our tower, we have 7 out of our 8 Ravengers, and our 8th guy is coming along right here. Now that we have all 8 Ravengers, it's important to note that they have taken a little bit of damage, so you will have to heal them using dispensers and a splash potion of healing. Another way to heal the Ravengers is using witches. If you didn't know, witches will throw splash potions of healing and also regeneration during a raid. So if we have 2 beds, 2 workstations, and if I put 2 villagers in here, this would be considered a village. Then we could get Bad Omen start a raid. And then once a raid has started, these witches will start throwing splash potions at the Ravengers, which would heal them. The only problem with this is that during a raid, the Ravengers try to pathfind to the center of the village, which is here, which makes them act funny when they're in the arena. To avoid this, we could just move the Tower of Ravengers off super far in the distance, and then when we want to start a fight, we can minecart the Ravengers towards the arena and make sure that they're out of range of the raid. That way they're fully healed and they're not in a raid. The downside to this though is you have to wait a long time for the Ravengers to get minecarted off in the distance and minecart them back. However, I think this is totally worth it if you don't have to manually brew a bunch of splash potions. Now that you've seen the arena in action and you have an idea on how to use it, I will show those that are interested some of the redstone involved. If you guys have ideas on more features to add, let me know in the comments. And for those who want to build this in a server, I'd highly recommend it as it will impress all of your friends. Okay, so for the redstone, we have this circuit, which is the gate, which I have in glass so you can clearly see what's going on. And if I flick this lever, it's very satisfying to watch, and it pulls the gates down and moves the magma blocks out of the way. And then if we flick it again, it pushes everything back up. Very fun to watch. If you guys are interested in how I built this, leave a comment. But here's all of the redstone. This right here is what I used for the floor, so if I flick this lever, you can see it pops up the gravel and two of the blocks, right here and here. And these two actually can be any block, but the two in the middle have to be gravity blocks, which is one of the downsides. But for this arena, that works just fine because the gravel looks good. This is what all the redstone looks like if you want to build it yourself. Now for the last thing I wanted to show you guys. This is by far the most complicated redstone in the whole arena. This is the randomizer for the floor. So how it works is we have all of these redstone blocks. So if we want to make it flat, you can see all the redstone blocks get aligned to here, which means none of these repeaters are on. And then if we want all of the spikes to be up, we can hit this other button, which pushes all of the redstone to the other side, which makes all of these repeaters on. There's three main parts of it. There is a timer, which is like a hopper clock, which I have 50 items in. It's a little bit of a unique hopper clock though. Beneath it, we have the randomizer. How the randomizer works is there's two items, and the dropper will randomly spit one into the hopper, and depending on which item it is, this comparator will give a different signal strength. So to see that in action, I can grab a lever, and depending on what it is, you can see that time this piston activated, and if we did it again, that one just happened to get activated. That one got activated again. It's completely random every single time. By using this randomizer, depending on where the redstone block is, it can power this redstone block and send a signal all the way down to this part. This part of the redstone is a little bit harder to show how it works, but I can try to start off with. Every single time the randomizer gets activated, this observer will also send a pulse through this redstone line, which causes this note block to push the flying machine once every single time. And as it gets pushed along, this redstone will run into one of these modules like this, depending on where the target block is. And this line of redstone will be on or off depending on what the randomizer says. So if it's off, it's like this, and it can get pushed along. But then let's say it gets turned on and gets pushed along. You can see that it was off, off, on. And that's kind of how the randomizer works. And once it gets to the very end, And then one more time, this observer will get activated and cause this other flying machine to push this one all the way back. And so that's how it resets itself. This system also has a couple of safety features when it's resetting, so that some of the redstone lines don't get activated when they shouldn't. If you guys made it this far, thanks for watching, and make sure to keep an eye out for more videos since I plan to add more features to this arena.